Alright, this recipe was originally written and developed by Dan for Bon Appetit, and I've made it so many different times, made different variations, made it vegan, vegetarian, not vegan, made it exactly the way that she wrote it, but I've also changed it quite a bit. So I wanted to make this video mostly for myself so that I remember, because it's changed so much. So I'll leave my notes in the description as well as the original recipe. This is what I make when I'm trying to impress someone or when I'm trying to impress myself, whenever I'm feeling down or whenever I want something that's really satisfying. I hope you guys tried this recipe. It was my absolute most made recipe last year, so yeah, let's give this a go. Hey everyone, so we have our water boiling and we're gonna start off by toasting some things. The recipe calls for peanuts, but I like pine nuts, so I'm gonna use some pine nuts, so just about a handful of it. This is what you have to do when you shoot alone. It's nice and toasty. That took like, what, 30 seconds? I'm gonna set that aside, let it cool down a bit. I'm not gonna even bother with wiping this out. I'm just gonna go ahead and go on to the Sichuan peppercorn, and we're gonna take a teaspoon of it. I got this at 99 Ranch in LA, and yeah, I've been going through it pretty slowly. So I first started using this because of this recipe. And then I started to incorporate it in other recipes, and it's delicious. It's spicy, but it's not the type of spicy that you think. It's mouth numbing, and if you were to take a sip of just flat water, it'll taste like sparkling water because it makes your mouth just kind of zing. You're just gonna toast it until it's nice and fragrant, so I'm starting to smell it. And then you're gonna transfer it to a pestle and mortar. Now, I bought a pestle and mortar because of this recipe, because I was making it so often, but I know not a lot of people will have that, so I'm going to show you how to crush it without using a pestle and mortar. For the noodles, I'm using a ½ pound of pappardelle, and this is enough to serve 2 to 3 people. Pop that in. Now we're on the prep side. My peppercorns have cooled, so what I'm going to do is take my cast iron skillet, and using the back of it, I'm just going to press down and crush everything. And I find that this works really well. It works just as well as the pestle and mortar. Of course, the pestle and mortar is a lot more clean, so it doesn't get everywhere. But if you don't have a pestle and mortar and you're not just going to go out and buy it for this recipe, then I would suggest this method. And then we'll work on the sauce. First off, I have chili crisp. And I have 2 here because this is my favorite. This is By Jing. It's delicious, however, it's kind of spendy. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of this in the recipe itself, in the base, and then I'm going to add this in as a topping. For the nuts, I'm just going to give it a rough chop. I don't want it to be like powder. I just want it to be rough, but you can still tell that there's nuts in this. 5 cloves of garlic, you're just going to finely mince them. Ooh, actually, I have this tool that's kind of cool. Where is it? This thing. Yeah, and just crush it like this, and it's super fast. I don't even have to chop it. So we're just gonna assemble the sauce. 1 tablespoon of black vinegar. This is pretty important. It's almost like a light balsamic. So do with that info what you will. Camilla's mom said to get the one that's kind of embossed like this, the bottle that's embossed. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of chili crisp, and then 2 tablespoons of sesame paste, which I don't have, so then I'm going to use this, which is organic tahini from Trader Joe's. And then go ahead and mix it all together. Back over here, I've got my noodles going, I've got my pan heating, so I'm going to throw a little bit of oil in here. I'm just going to use coconut oil because that's what I have. I made this recipe the other day using impossible meat, and I really liked it, and I still have half a package left, so I'm just going to use the rest of that. And I think what you're meant to do is actually just break down the meat so that it's little minced pieces, but I like chunkier pieces, so I keep it pretty whole like that. And then to this, you're going to add ½ a teaspoon of 5 spice powder. And then another teaspoon of soy sauce. It smells so good, and the impossible meat is browning up beautifully. Wow. Once I'm about like a minute out, I'm just gonna add all the garlic in there. So the garlic goes in. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the heat on the impossible meat and then pour in the sauce that I just made. And because I timed everything the way that I did, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the pasta directly in. And it's okay to let the water piggyback over because you're actually gonna use some more of that water to thin out the pasta itself or make it more of a sauce. And then when I take about a cup of this sauce, just pour it directly in. It's gonna seem like a lot at first because it'll be really watery, but then there's a lot of starch in this pasta water, so it'll thicken up and then it'll be a perfect sauce. So just be patient and bear with me. I'm almost ready to plate, but I feel like this recipe needs some greens, so I'm gonna add some cucumber, which I think is super important. Yeah, so I'm just gonna cut them into little pieces. I'm just gonna cut them into little matchsticks. This isn't in the original recipe, but I really like it, so I do recommend adding it. And then also some green onion, and I like to cut it at a bias. Some of that meat chunks on top. And of course, some of our pine nuts. Peanuts if you're using that. I like to put the cucumbers on the side so I can dig in with every bite. And then green onion. Loads of it. And then you want to top it with some more chili crisp, so look at that. And that's it. Isn't it beautiful? All right, the taste test. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Try the Impossible meat. I swear, the Impossible meat tastes so good. I'm a meat eater. I do eat meat from time to time. But I mean, this makes me not even miss meat. So yeah, and I've tried this with mushrooms. I've tried this with other things as well, and it's delicious any way you make it. The noodles are amazing. I think the whole point is that a thick noodle just tastes better. It takes the sauce in really well. It's spicy, but not in the way that you think. It's not like a hot spicy. It's just delicious. And I love that the green onion and the cucumber kind of cuts away from how rich the sauce is. I hope you guys give this a go. I'll leave all the recipe notes as well as the original recipe from Dan Yang in the description box. If you end up making this recipe, please shoot me an email, send me a message, send me a DM, hit me up on Instagram, show me a photo because I want to see how you interpret this recipe.